Do you feel bad for Jack Doohan?
I do because it does seem like, that could have been his last race
Yeah,
in Alpine for a while. In Alpine for a while because it's imminent, very imminent that, Franco Colapinto is going to take his seat. We have predicted something like this might happen based on how Jack Doohan did in his first 5 to 6 races.
yeah,
And, it just felt that he was not there, with
mm,
the car, and a lot of damage had already been done. He
right.
did have a few good showings here and there, but the damage bill that he's caused to Alpine has probably risen quite a bit in the last few races, and the first lap crash at Miami definitely did not help. So yeah, I think that his time is up. He
Mm,
got 5 races before the start of the season to show his worth, and it does seem that it's not gone right.
yeah,
And
but
unfortunately for Jack,
mm.
we won't be seeing him anymore.
And again, let me ask you this. If we just go over, let me quickly narrate Jack Doohan's results to you before I ask you the question. So starting off, and I'm going to compare him with obviously his teammate Pierre Gasly as well. So starting off in Australia, Gasly finished P11 in the race, and Jack Doohan DNF'd, and also Gasly out qualified him as well. Gasly went to Q3, Jack Doohan was 14, so Q2. And then we go to China. China, similar story again. In sprint qualifying, uh, okay, this was no, sorry, yeah, sprint qualifying. Sure, I mean there were Jack Doohan was 16, Pierre Gasly was 17, but yeah, I mean who cares? Both did bad. But again, in the sprint, yeah, he did finish ahead of Pierre Gasly, but again, you don't get points for P16 and P17. And then if you go to the race qualifying for Shanghai, uh, yeah, he was P18, Gasly was P16, and again, the race I think was pretty forgettable for both drivers.
Yeah,
Gasly got famously disqualified that race, and Doohan
yeah.
finished again P13. So again, no points. And then we go to Suzuka. Suzuka, similar thing again. If you look at qualifying, Doohan was P19. He had a very bad qualifying in Suzuka. Gasly was P11, missed Q3 by a tenth. So again, Gasly kind of at this point starts to show, as you see in the results, Gasly starts to show his advantage and his much higher seniority and racecraft experience over Doohan. Again in the race, Gasly was P13, Doohan was P15. Sure, you can say it's close, but we saw in qualifying that, Gasly was showing the signs of that. And then Bahrain again, Gasly
Bahrain, I think, was a
qualified
good race.
P5.
Yeah,
Gasly
yeah, yeah.
qualified P5 in Bahrain. Doohan was P11. Sure, I think
Yeah.
this was the first time Doohan showed some promise.
Yes.
He was P11 and he was 200ths of a second behind P10, which was Yuki Tsunoda. So again, not a big achievement. But again, Doohan was started to show promise. But again, in the race, Gasly got points. Gasly finished P7. Doohan was way down in P14, kind of undid everything that he tried to do. Saudi again, Doohan was P17. He finished a lap behind Oscar. Um, yeah, Gasly did not finish that race. Too bad. But yeah, again qualifying, Gasly goes to Q3. He's P9, and then Doohan was P17 in qualifying. And then Miami, of course, we know what happened. Miami, uh, Doohan again P14. Gasly, sure, he was P18. But then the race, you see Gasly in P13 and Doohan DNF on the first lap. And so if we come to the points, Gasly has 7 points because he finished twice in the points and Doohan has 0. Now my question to you is, after that rambling result review of the two Alpine drivers, do you think Colapinto will do better than this?
I think he definitely has more speed than Jack. So his raw speed might just get him to a P10 in quali.
Keep in mind, he was in a Williams last year, so that car also has better raw speed than Alpine.
Yeah, but we are banking on Jack Colapinto's talent as well. So
I mean,
we
Doohan is
think
no
that
slouch. Have you forgotten Colapinto's crash build to Williams last year?
I know, I understand, but he also showed a lot of pace despite the crash, despite of the crashes he's had.
Hmm.
While Jack Doohan, unfortunately, barring a few races here and there, has not shown. true pace in that car. I mean, the car is not like the best car, but at least
Yeah.
he could probably done better showing. At least not crashed it so many times,
Hmm.
and shown that he could keep on the track and at least do a solid job. But he's not shown that, and we always thought that when Colapinto was signed, that Colapinto will be getting that job sooner rather than later. So they're gonna put him in that car from Imola, and they're gonna hope that he can drive that car up to like say a point or two every few races with Pierre Gasly as well. And with Pierre
Hmm.
Gasly, probably they make a better team than Doohan and Gasly. So uh, I think this just hope against hope for Alpine. Now they're just throwing the dice at what they have, and we'll see. Colapinto is someone who probably deserved a seat in F1 this year, based on at least his first initial outings with Williams when
Yeah.
he was just kind of the star on the grid. And now we'll see what he's made of in a new team, new environment,
Hmm.
a car which is not as good as the car which he was driving probably last year. So now we'll see if his talent which he has does come out or not.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you, but I think the main thing that I see is that hmm, Jack Doohan has had a much better junior career than Franco Colapinto. I mean, Colapinto was honestly, I mean, sure, he was part of the Williams Academy, but if you look at his junior career, it's not that great, right? The last few seasons, he was, I mean, ninth in F2 last year. Sure, he didn't participate in the last few races, but even before that, I mean, fourth in F3 was his best finish in his junior career. Compared to Jack Doohan, Doohan was, he used to be also part of the Red Bull Junior team, right? He was also a reserve driver for Alpine last 2 seasons, and he finished. Uh, he didn't race in 2024. He was a reserve driver, so he didn't race in F2 or F3. But 2023 he finished third in F2, and then 2021 he was second in F3. So I think I know Colapinto did show some promise last season, but we also saw Colapinto do a lot of crashes last season. Now
Yes.
I know Doohan has crashed before some angry Colapinto fan starts going at me in the comments. But honestly, I'm not sure if Colapinto will be that much faster than the Alpine. Like the car is also not the best. Like last year, the Williams was in a much better state. I know they finished P9 in the constructors, right? I'm aware of that. I'm also aware that Alpine was P6, so that was one lucky result. Not lucky, driver skills. I agree, but that was one result in a rain-soaked Brazil, which
Yeah.
obviously rain always levels the cars out, and we saw that to great effect in Interlagos last year. But if not for that race, Alpine would roughly be the same where Williams was. They're probably behind Williams before that point. So yeah, I mean, I honestly am skeptical. Um, I mean, Flavio previously said that Doohan has till the summer break, right? Uh,
Yes. That's what we also thought.
yeah. So why don't you give him to the summer break? Man, like 6 races. Like
I
it's
think teams are just being harsh on the drivers, and it's the new reality of F1.
yeah.
I mean, the most famous being Red Bull, obviously, but
I mean, see,
these drivers are not getting enough
Okay,
time.
Red Bull replaced Liam Lawson with Yuki Tsunoda, who's a much much more experienced driver who, in fact, deserve that seat, right? I don't know why in Seven Hells Red Bull put Liam Lawson in that seat, but you can still make an argument there. Even though, again, I
Yeah.
never agree with that too of replacing Lawson after 2 races. He just caused two drivers trauma, not just Liam, even
Yeah.
Yuki Tsunoda to start the season. But with Alpine, it's you really can't say for sure that Colapinto is a much better driver than Doohan, right? So yeah, I mean, I honestly don't see the point. I think Doohan was showing promise. Again, he's a rookie, so obviously you'll have some of those missteps that rookies do. You see it with Kimi as well. Qualifies on pole, leads up his tires. Obviously rookies do rookie things. They learn. But yeah, I don't like that. After you publicly say that Doohan has till the summer break at least. I mean, come on. First of all, when you sign Jack Doohan, why the hell are you signing Franco Colapinto? Right? It's not like Colapinto had a drive this season.
Exactly.
It's not like any team was lining up to sign Colapinto. Right? I think all that nonsense about Red Bull signing Colapinto was just that nonsense. I mean, they have Yuki Tsunoda, they have Isaac Hadjar, there's so many junior drivers. There's no reason they would sign, Colapinto. I think what it feels like is Alpine just jumped the gun trying to get ahead of
Even the
possibly Red
Colapintos
Bull
mistakes.
to sign Colapinto. And then they painted themselves into a corner because they gave Jack Doohan a contract much before that.
Yeah, yeah.
But man, I feel bad for Doohan. I mean, this is a career killer, right? You get
We
6
do, we do,
races.
we do.
Don't you think this is a career killer for Doohan?
I hope it's not. I hope he does
I
well
hope
this
it's
season.
not, but it does feel like that, right? I mean, F1, like you said, it's unforgiving,
Yeah.
right? Um, I mean, at least Liam Lawson still has a drive because Red Bull has two teams for some reason, but Alpine doesn't. You don't have Lotus Renault F1 somewhere over there, which can absorb Jack Doohan.
Yeah. Uh, we'll see what happens with Doohan. As of now, he'll be the reserve driver.
Yeah. At least as of now, he's still a Renault Alpine driver. Nothing's been announced yet.
Yes.
But yeah, like you said, probably this weekend they'll make the announcement for Imola.
Yeah.
But yeah, but also, man, Aniket, Jack Doohan's agent is Flavio Briatore. How is this allowed?
Yeah, I
Why is
mean,
Doohan not firing him yet?
they're going in a new direction. I don't know why Doohan not firing him.
Yeah, it boggles the mind, honestly.